Sounds fun. This would be interesting.
This will be interesting. I have no idea how to start this off. I just kind of
I've literally never done a podcast ever.
I
neither have
have,
I.
I have, but there's like no introduction. It's just like the music, and then it goes into the podcast, and then the music again. So like, I guess we should kind of do an intro. We should just like go straight into it, like straight into the podcast. Screw an introduction.
I always like technology's always been a weird thing for me. My mom's always been like very restrictive of it until I was like in 8th grade. Even now she's like very restrictive of like what I use for technology. You know, like
I mean, I didn't really have technology for a little while. I was kind of, we weren't on the wealthy side, and so technology was kind of like something that we got when we could pay for it, and a lot of the time we couldn't. So I didn't grow up with technology. I think I kind of grew up figuring out how to entertain myself differently, and I think it helped me a lot figure out like what I liked to do instead of just watching TV and things like that. So
right. Because like you see kids like nowadays and they're like they have like their heads in a tablet or something, and then I remember like being a little girl like drawing or something, or like getting into like mischief in like the kitchen or something.
Most social media that was like even like around like popular when like, I mean, when I was growing up at least, was like Twitter, and that was like still new. And then like everything else slowly started coming in, and now it's like 10-year-olds expect to like have an Instagram, and they expect to have a phone, and like that's just crazy, like that they have those expectations just because like the whole world has shifted. Like the most like cool technology I had was like a Wii. Like that was it. You know what I mean? Like it was just
Yeah.
like came to, and it wasn't like you took it everywhere with you, and like it was just more of a privilege. Now it's like expected.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the most I had, like technology wise, when I was like 10 was like my 360. And that's when it was like new. And
Yeah.
like, yeah. And like, it had the Connect, I remember. And I just thought it was like the coolest thing for like a few months. But even then, like, it wasn't really that appealing until I got like more games. I'm so sorry you can hear the lawnmower outside. Um, but yeah, so like it didn't really appeal to me that much until like I got like other games like Minecraft or something, like, or Assassin's Creed. Like it was just kind of there for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, I remember MySpace. I still have a MySpace page. So like I haven't gone to it in a good like 9 years, but I still have one. Like and I've talked to my little brother. I was like, "Oh, I remember when we had MySpace." And he was like, "What the hell? Like what's MySpace?" I was like, "Oh God, I'm old." Like and it feels like technology has just grown. Like it's just
Yeah.
grown up from the time that we've grown up. Like it's grown up with us kind of in a weird way. Like my first phone was a BlackBerry.
Oh, bruh. You're
And I
like so
paid
old school. I love
yes.
that.
Well, it was my brother's old phone. So it was a used old phone. It was a used new phone. And it was just like I don't know, I couldn't do very much on it.
Yeah, and like you said, like that we've like grown up with technology. I think that like it's pretty cool that like we were like born into that generation, because like I mean like our parents, like I mean they didn't grow up with like all that stuff. Like my mom, like I'm pretty sure had like an Atari, which is like the most old school video game like ever. And like, you know, like it's just completely different. Like we have like phones now where you can like listen to music. Like my mom had like literally like a boombox. Like she literally used to like carry one like in her car with her. And like that's crazy for me to think about, because like right now it's just like all at our fingertips. And like um I mean like yeah, like that's super weird, but I also feel like that's like pretty like convenient a lot of the time. And like I mean even like with this, like 10 years ago, like this entire concept of online school and like virtual learning and all that stuff like would be completely different. Like I mean it would have been like crazy to even think about. So like I mean, I think that like the evolution of it is like important because like it got us here. It's just like crazy how fast it evolved. I mean, like we're still minors and like it's still like, I mean, it's evolved so much in the past like year or two even. It's just crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's still evolving. To me at least, like it's still like we have new things now. Like Siri wasn't a thing when iPods first came out. Siri is like relatively new, and like I don't know, I find it kind of funny how like we can just say hey Siri or hey Google or something, and oh, I just woke up my phone, and all of a sudden like this voice pops up and goes, what can I do for you? It's like really weird to me. I don't know.
It's funny to like use Siri or something like that around like older people. I can't like count the number of times I've done that and scared some member of my family because they wanted to know why I was talking to myself. But yeah, like like growing up, my parents passed that, like the stuff that they used on down to me. Like I had like a little I'm blanking on the names of course, but like a little game player and it had Tetris and stuff like that, or like a CD player that was just this little circle thing and I walked around with my headphones in it.
Yeah, I remember like I used to, just have like this little like CD player, or like my dad's like iPod Shuffle, and it was one of the little things, and I just like put on his bulky headphones and listened to it. It was always like, I don't know, it's just crazy how much more reliant we become on technology. Like we rely on our phones for pretty much like everything, like to contact people, to like schedule meetings, or to for like social interaction. Like we rely on it for like everything, and it's crazy like to think like to go back to a time when like we didn't rely on that.
Yeah, and I think it's funny like I like what you just said. I ask my phone like at least 10 times a day to set a timer for me so that I'm on time to a school meeting. Like and I've asked my mom, like my mom got all scared when I was like, "Hey Google," and all of a sudden this voice pops up and she's like, "What the hell is that?" It's in this house. And it's so weird. But I think it's really fun to even to have technology because now we can play games and we can like play music from it. Like I remember when I put my phone in a cup so that I could listen to it louder because speakers weren't really a thing yet.
Me too. I used to do that too. Like when I was like,
that.
anytime I needed it to be a little bit louder, I would put it in like a plastic cup, just make it a little bit better.
I've never heard of that. That's insane.
It works
Yeah, you just like put it in like in the cup.
in
like
the
this.
cup.
It works. You put the speaker part down.
Yeah, no, I never did anything like that because I have speakers on my house. I don't know.
I remember my mom, she has like an Alexa, and she's like very reliant on it for like weather and music. And like she started playing some weird music the other day. I don't know. I guess she started getting into country, and I was like, okay, but it's like not like the old country. Like it's like the newer pop country, like Luke Bryant or something. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, what is that? She's like, it's cool, and I'm like, okay. Like I don't know. I've never really been a fan of country myself.
I
It's always been very.
My mom, she's very into like she doesn't like rap or anything, which tends to be kind of the stuff I listen to, but I'll play like 99.3 and she'll hear some TikTok song and get it stuck in her head for like the next week. And then I get tired of it because I like how many times have I heard that before, you know?
Yeah. I mean, my music taste is so varied. I have a Goo Goo Dolls poster over here, a Charlie Puth poster over here, and then that's a movie, but it has a bunch of 80s music. And like, yeah. But country is one that I just can't get around to liking.
Like
Yes, like I grew up like on all of it. Like my parents, like we've always listened to country, but also we like they're the only people I listen to country with. And then like they've also like introduced me to like a bunch of like the other artists like I've just like been listening to my whole life that I love, like Biggie and like Tupac. Like they like my dad like has always like shown me them, like Fleetwood Mac, like old artists too. And like I mean, like I still listen, like like I listened to Fleetwood Mac when I was getting ready this morning. So like it's like still like a constant, you know. But like I think that's like what I like so much about it is that like I grew up around like always listening to music. Like it was just always on, and it was like always so diverse that like I feel like that like helped me like figure out like how to like discover new music and like appreciate like not only like the music but like the culture behind it and like the artists themselves, you know. I feel like it's such a cool industry.
Yeah. I found my mom's collection of records that she has collected over the years, and it goes all the way from 70s to 80s to the 90s, and like all of them are so different. Like she listened to Eminem in the 90s and like Bon Jovi in the 80s. And I was just like, what happened? Like where did you go from this like rock music to rap?
Totally. I'm the same way as her, honestly, so I can't judge. But like, I agree. I grew up listening to a lot of like small. It kind of depended. It could be small band. It could be bigger, more popular. But my dad had a certain set of CDs because he was the person who always used CDs, like no matter what new thing was coming out to play music on. So, and he like still burns CDs and stuff like that. But he played a lot of 80s and 90s music growing up. So I just know this song by like heart, and I don't even remember learning it like when I was younger.
My dad loves 80s. He's like a total like rocker person, and he still has the CDs, and he still has like his piles and piles of CDs. And then he has like his iPod Shuffle, which sometimes he burns those onto, but he's usually always just like stuck to CDs. He's so old school like that. And then my mom, she likes to listen to some rock, but she's more like alternative rock, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. She was more like from the 90s, and my dad's like very 80s. He likes the glam rock, or like Metallica. He likes Metallica quite a bit. And he started like getting into some new rock, but it's like it's kind of K-pop. I don't know. He just like went down like this weird rabbit hole, and he's like trying to find some new rock, and he's like finding K-pop instead. And he's like, "You gotta listen to this." I'm like, "I already heard it. It's cool, I guess. It's kind of okay." Yeah, he's kind of weird like that.
My dad is a Grateful Dead, The Who, very garage band music. Like he listens to things that like I wouldn't even imagine listening to wake up in the morning because I would just fall asleep again. And then like my mom is totally opposite. And like I'm wondering, I always wonder like why did you guys get married? Like you guys have nothing in common,
Right.
especially in the whole music industry. So weird.
Yeah, like I said, like my dad is a huge old music freak. Like he won't listen to anything else, or like old movies too. I just grew up on that whole sort of thing. I wasn't really into anything new unless it was like Marvel, just because of like the things he was like, oh, this is a good movie and this is a bad movie, and I was just like my mind just went to it.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up on Pretty in Pink and Breakfast Club.
I've been wanting to watch 16 Candles recently. Like,
Best
I know. It's so
Awesome.
good.
That's an awesome movie.
And since like my birthday's coming up soon, I'm like, I have to watch it. Sweet 16, let's go. You know?
So weird you guys are that young. I'm gonna be 18 this weekend.
Wait, when's your birthday?
Saturday. I didn't like I just forget you guys are so much younger than me. Like I know it's not a lot, but like I feel like me turning 16 was like a long time ago.
Oh my god. I'm turning 16 on Saturday.
Wait, really?
Yeah, really? I was like, oh shit.
The third? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
That's pretty cool. I never meet anyone with the same birthday as me. That's
The only
really-
person that has the same birthday as me is like my aunt, but usually everybody's like focused on Mean Girls or something.
yeah, I was gonna say it's Mean Girls Day. It's like what everyone tells
I know.
me.
I know, they're like, on Wednesdays we wear pink, and I'm like, Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I've never
That
seen
was
Mean
so
Girls.
That is so cool. Oh my god, I
Neither.
can't wait for my birthday.
That's awesome. I have to wish you happy birthday
I
on
know.
Saturday.
On Saturday.
We all do now. We all have to wish them happy
Yeah.
birthday on the group chat.
Yeah. Yay. That's
But
awesome.
16 is a fun year. I liked being 16. 17 is kind of boring. All you can do is go see rated R movies, and then the movie theater's closed, so it wasn't that cool for me. But
Actually, that might be kind of helpful because, like, I went to go try and see Rocket Man in theaters, like, last year, like, with somebody, and, like, it took a little bit of convincing to try and get in.
oh, I used to just sneak in. I would buy
What
something
was
for
that
like a
rated?
rated G movie, and I would just run to the other theater. That's what I used to do in like 8th grade.
Oh, man. I would have, but, like, they check your tickets now, and I'm like,
They do.
yeah. And I'm
They
like,
check them
uh-oh.
at the door. I don't remember them checking at the door.
Well,
like,
yeah. They, like,
yeah.
check they like check him like right before you like enter like the hallways for like the different theaters. It's weird.
Probably
it's
fun.
probably
Assigned seating, like the assigned seating and that kind of ruins the whole running around trying to figure out like which movie you actually want to watch. Like oh, you're in row J seat 4 and you're like, I wanted to go watch a different movie.
that's more for like formal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more of like the more I'm blanking on the word popular releases. There we go. But like I remember that. Okay, like speaking of movies and stuff like that, was I the only person that like every time my mom made us buy snacks and then sneak them in?
yes.
My mom would pack us like full like meals. Like we would pack like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We had like fruit and chips. We were like in the back of the theater having a picnic. And I used to get so scared. It's just like, no, it's fine. I'm like, okay. But like we never could buy stuff. Like if we got to buy a snack at the movie theater, like that was like a big deal. Cause like
Yeah.
like sometimes, you know, money was just tight sometimes. So like we just like would go to Walmart and like pack a little lunch, and then that's what we brought to the movie theater. So
my mom used to bring all the snacks in like a big Louis Vuitton bag. I remember she used to like pack like the little mini Cokes, and then she'd like get like a bag of popcorn, and like it was funny. She like brought all sorts of stuff, and then she just opened it up, like sit on her lap and open it up. She's like, "You want a Coke?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
it's pretty funny.
Sit down the line. Because she would bring like me and my cousins, my grandparents, and there would just be like a whole line of us taking up the row, and she would just pass the Coke down. Or like I remember, I think it was one of the first times she brought us soda. I like didn't really understand the whole like if you shake it, it's going to explode. And so I was doing that. I think I was like dancing to the music in a trailer or something, and just like shaking the Coke in the side. And my mom was a few seats over trying to say, hey, tell her to stop doing that. But it never got to me. So I opened it and it spilled on my legs. I was like probably 9 or 10. That was
Well, like, and I have such a big family that like when we would all go to the movies, the tickets alone cost over $100. And then they were like, if we buy snacks, we're gonna be like spending a fortune on movies. So we would always go to the dollar store and like that was like next door or something, and we would get the candy and then the Coke, like the liter of Coke that we all like poured into cups at the movie theater. And like that was it. And I was always so terrified. My mom brought this like ginormous tote bag, and you could obviously tell that there was something inside it. And but we never got caught. They never checked it.
I know. Like, I think they check them now too, which is like kind of sucky because now you have to buy food. Well, you don't have to, but like you got to get more like discreet with like bringing in snacks. Because I remember they started being like, starting today or starting on this month, 2019, we're gonna start checking bags or something. I was like, yeah.
I still sneak candy in.
yeah. I haven't been to a movie in like forever, but yeah, I don't know. The only things I bought there were like the sodas with my dad and then popcorn, because we tried once sneaking popcorn in and I just poured the popcorn into the Ziploc bag and it just melted through right away.
Oh wow.
So that didn't work. But I like one of the first times that I ever got a candy, like an actual box of candy from the movie theater because it was with one of my friends or something. It felt so weird to me because I just grown up sneaking the food in.
I've always like, I think I used to get popcorn and soda from like the movie theater, but that was pretty rare. And my mom at one point just got like tired of the popcorn there just because it was just so oily and like upset our stomach, so she finally just started making her own popcorn and just started bringing that instead. Although like there's something that's different about like movie theater popcorn. Just like yeah, has that taste.
I agree.
This was fun. I thought this was like a good experience like for our first podcast. Um yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So,
This is yeah. All right.
hopefully we can get funnier topics next time.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean like I thought these were good topics to start
They
with.
are. No,
But-
they're like really good topics, especially to like start
mood
off a series. Like
Kind
they're really good topics because they kind of like introduce you easily. Like
Yeah, it's very yeah, it's a good ease into it.
us going off on a tangent about sneaking food into movies.
We can look, we'll have it more planned out next week.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Like, this isn't the best it could be. It's our first one, you know?
right.
Exactly. We'll get used to it, and eventually we'll like write an intro for it, and like we'll say it, and then an outro. We'll get used to it. It'll be fine. We'll get used to it eventually.
Yeah.
Also, hopefully, we'll get more requests at some point.
Yes. Hopefully people start sending more stuff in because I think some of the topics were good. I just wish we had more variety to choose from. And I wish I posted it sooner cuz yeah. Actually, I think us talking about like improving the podcast is a good outro.
Yeah, we're gonna improve it. Okay, guys, we're gonna improve. We're gonna improve the podcast. This is our first one. I think it went pretty good for our first one. We talked for over an hour.
That was
Oh.
pretty good. I didn't expect us to talk that long.
8:45. That was an hour and 15 minutes.
15 minutes ago.